और सीधे चलते हैं दिल्ली स्थित योजना भवन, जहां मोन्टेक सिंह अहलूवालिया गूगल हैंगआउट पर 12वीं पंचवर्षीय योजना के संबंध में पूछे जा रहे प्रश्नों का जवाब दे रहे हैं।
And hangouts like this, is this going to become really more and more crucial as we go forward?
I think social media is becoming more and more important to the government. As you know, now we are a nation of a connected billion. Not too long ago we had 2 million telephones, now we have 900 million telephones. We have almost 90 million active internet users, 66 million social media users. 74% of the people in urban areas are connected to internet. Almost 40 million people are active mobile internet users. And this number is growing every day. Government has made substantial investments in the last 5 years to improve broadband. We have built National Knowledge Network to connect all our universities, all our libraries, all our R&D institutions. We are building a network to connect 250,000 panchayats. We have UID. Dr. Kasturi Rangan and others are working on GIS, applications, electronic payments. So all of these things are finally coming together. And I believe in the future, we will have millions and millions more connected to this media, and this is the media for the young. And I remember a brief conversation we had, Montec and I had with Prime Minister over a lunch during Pravas Bharati Divas. We talked about this idea, and there was support from everybody. And I think this is the beginning. We are learning something today. We will make it better tomorrow. We'll learn some more and get more and more people to come into this.
All right, of course, the minute you throw this open to social media and you throw it open to all the young people, lots of questions, including some tough ones. So let me just start taking some of those that are already coming in. So from Twitter, Pasuan Panthai, right here on Google+, Saurabh Jain, both their questions are related to the same thing. It's a time of decentralization, while Google Hangouts and all and Twitter may be the new world. At the end of the day, is the Planning Commission itself and the fifth plan a bit of an anachronism? That's the question being asked. Dr. Ahluwalia, why do we still need a Planning Commission and a plan?
That's a good question, actually. People have a completely wrong idea of what the Planning Commission or planning is about. We are not doing top-down, centralized planning, deciding things for different people. There are really 3 or 4 things that the Planning Commission does. One is it sets a sort of national target and the implications of that national target. I mean, we're going to have, what is the growth rate we want? What will that do for income? How do we make it more inclusive? How will that affect poverty? How much energy do we need? Now, somebody has to do that. Otherwise, the detailed sectoral work really can't be done. Second point is that even when sectoral targets are fixed, they're not being done by governments, nor are we giving directions to individual companies what to do. We're looking at the whole thing, and we are saying in each sector, what is it that the government has to do, what is it that the private sector has to do. And in many sectors, it's the private sector that will do it all. But where the government has to do something, somebody has to be able to make sure that the resources are available. And you add up the resources that the government has to spend on all these things, and you link that up with a budget. That's what the Planning Commission does. But the third important thing that the Planning Commission does is that the private sector is now very important. I mean, 75% of all the investment in the country is done by the private sector. That means farmers, households, unincorporated enterprises, and the corporate sector. Now, these are not investments that are subject to government direction, because the economy is now liberalized, but they are influenced by government policies. So if you want to encourage farmers to invest, you want to encourage small businesses to expand, you need to ask the question, what is the ecosystem that will make it possible for all these people to do what we want, to do the investment, create the employment? That's something that the Planning Commission does. Now, you know, in each of these things, we interact with the ministries. The difference is the ministries have a narrow, if you like, a silo view of what's happening in their sector. But almost every ministry's area is affected by policies taken by other ministries. So it's really something like the Planning Commission, that takes a look at what's happening in a particular sector because of policies in that sector and how is it being impacted by policies in some other sector. Now, you know, this job has to be done in every country. It doesn't all have to be done in something called a planning commission, but many different ways. In some places it's done in the Prime Minister's office. In some places the budgeting part is done in one place, the policy part is done in another place. In India, it's done in the Planning Commission, and one important difference is for India, we are the only body in the government that looks at what is needed by the states. So the central government also gives money to the states. It has to listen to the states. It has to mediate to the central government the point of view of state governments. So that's another function that we actually perform.
All right, fine. So that's the function of the plan and of the Planning Commission. Does it do it effectively? Does it actually make a difference on the ground? Why don't I go across to Mr. Jagdish Bairwa, who's the Sarpanch of the Kanpura Gram Panchayat. He's joining us from Ajmer in Rajasthan. And I guess the basic question is, at the end of the day, does the entire planning exercise actually make a difference there on the ground for the people who need it? Or are there big concerns obviously on delivery mechanisms and everything reaching out there? Let me come to Mr. Bairwa.
नमस्ते सर, मैं जगदीश बैरवा सरपंच कानपुरा राजस्थान से बोल रहा हूँ
जी।
पंचवर्षीय योजना को लेकर कुछ सवाल है जो मैं शेयर करना चाहूंगा।
हाँ, आप उसको शेयर करिए कि उस पर उससे पहले जो कॉन्टेक्ट जी कह रहे थे कि इस सारी प्लानिंग एक्सरसाइज से वहाँ काफी फर्क पड़ता है पंचायत में जो काम वहाँ होता है, तो इससे आप इस पर आप कुछ कहना चाहेंगे?
जी सर।
हाँ, बोलिए बैरवा जी।
इंटरनेट सिस्टम रूरल एरिया में डेवलप होने के बाद में ग्रामीण क्षेत्र में काफी जागरूकता पैदा हुई है और वो जो ग्रामीण क्षेत्र के जो लोग हैं वो इंटरनेट के बारे में जानने लगे हैं और इसका उपयोग भी कर रहे हैं।
ये जो फिफ्थ प्लान है, 12th प्लान है, उसके बारे में अगर आपके पास कोई सवाल है तो आप पूछिए। प्लानिंग कमीशन हमारे साथ है, वो आपके सवाल का जवाब दे पाएंगे।
जी सर। स्वास्थ्य, शिक्षा और बेरोजगारी ग्रामीण भारत की मुख्य समस्या रही है। इसको लेकर पंचवर्षीय योजना में सरकार क्या कर रही है?
Right. Dr. Ahluwalia, who wants to take that question on the Planning Commission?
Should I come in a little bit?
Yeah.
I will be taking that question. No, I think the main issue here, Vikram, is that with internet, we believe the models are going to change. You know, in village people always complain about teacher not coming on time, doctor not there in the hospital. I think internet is going to create whole new model of development and delivery of public services.
Okay.
Internet is all about democratization of information. It will improve access, it will improve accountability, openness, and I think the concept of governance will change at the panchayat level. And that's the...
Right, sir. Let me now just toss that across to the Planning Commission. And Dr. Ahluwalia, who in the Planning Commission wants to take that? Perhaps Professor Abhijit.
I'm going to ask Narendra Jadhav to answer the question on education and Saida Hamid to answer the question on health. So first Jadhav, then Saida. What are we doing on education and health that will make a difference in the village?
धन्यवाद जगदीश जी, आपने बिल्कुल सही फरमाया है। ग्रामीण भारत में शिक्षा एवं रोजगारी की जो समस्या है उसी को मद्देनजर रखते हुए 12वीं पंचवार्षिक योजना में शिक्षा और कौशल विकास के ऊपर विशेष रूप से बल दिया जा रहा है। शालेय शिक्षा हो या माध्यमिक शिक्षा हो या उच्च शिक्षा हो, ये सारे मामलों में बहुत बड़ा प्रसारण 12वीं पंचवार्षिक योजना के तहत हो रहा है। लेकिन शिक्षा में प्रसारण के साथ साथ गुणवत्ता सुधार, क्वालिटी इंप्रूवमेंट, इसकी भी बहुत निहायत ही जरूरी है और उसी के लिए 12वीं पंचवार्षिक योजना में विशेष रूप से प्रयास किया जा रहा है। आपने शिक्षक अध्यापक की बात की, उसके बारे में मैं कहना चाहूंगा कि टीचर्स की रिक्रूटमेंट बड़े तादाद में हो रही है। टीचर्स एलिजिबिलिटी टेस्ट जो है वो जारी कर दिए गए हैं, और सबसे महत्वपूर्ण बात यह है कि 12वीं पंचवार्षिक योजना में नेशनल मिशन ऑन टीचर्स और ट्रेनिंग इसका संकल्प किया गया है। इसी के जरिए फिलहाल जो कठिनाइयां जिसका जिक्र आपने किया, वो कठिनाइयां काफी हद तक दूर हो सकती है। जहां तक बेरोजगारी का ताल्लुक है, इसी तो कारण से कौशल्य विकास को 12वीं पंचवार्षिक योजना में अग्रक्रम दिया गया है। मिसाल के तौर पर मैं कहना चाहूंगा कि जिसको वोकेशनल गाइडेंस कहते हैं, उसको बढ़ावा दिया जा रहा है। स्किल डेवलपमेंट की कौशल निर्माण की मिशन केंद्रीय स्तर पर जैसे है, वैसी आज सारे राज्यों में वो मिशन एस्टैब्लिश की गई है, शुरू की गई है। सेक्टर स्किल काउंसिल का निर्माण हुआ है, और ITI, ITC, अप्रेंटिसशिप प्रोग्राम, मॉड्यूलर एम्प्लॉयबल स्किल्स, इन सारे माध्यमों के जरिए 12वीं पंचवार्षिक योजना के अंतर्गत 5 करोड़ बिगर कृषि नॉन फार्म क्षेत्र में रोजगार निर्माण करने का लक्ष्य 12वीं योजना ने हमारे सामने रखा है। ये मैं आपको बताना चाहता हूं। धन्यवाद।
जगदीश जी, जहाँ तक स्वास्थ्य का सवाल है, ये तो बहुत एक ऐसा मुद्दा है जिसके लिए लोगों की जिंदगी दुख से भर जाती है। तो हमने कोशिश ये की है कि जैसे आपने कहा कि दवाएं हैं, डॉक्टर नहीं है, ANM नहीं है, और कई साधनों से हम लोग वंचित हैं। तो हमने ये कोशिश की है कि जो ट्रेनिंग से ह्यूमन रिसोर्सेज कम है, और ये बहुत हद तक आप एक सरपंच हैं, तो बॉटम्स अप प्लानिंग जिसका जिक्र मॉन्टेक साहब ने किया, बॉटम्स अप प्लानिंग में वो प्लानिंग तो आप ही के हिस्से में आती है। आप अपने स्तर से प्लान करें, स्टेट अपने स्तर से प्लान करे, और उसको इंसेंटिवाइज किया जाए कि हम ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोगों को ये ट्रेनिंग दें, और ट्रेनिंग करके उनको स्पेशली प्राइमरी हेल्थ सेंटर जो गांव के स्तर पे जिस तरह से ये चीज जमीन पे उतरनी चाहिए, तो वही ट्रेनिंग ANM को दे, नर्स को दे, और उसके साथ साथ हमारी जो आयुष सेक्टर है, जो हमारा आयुर्वेद है, हिकमत है, जो सारे हमारे 5 आयुष सेक्टर है, उसको हम किस तरह से मेन स्ट्रीम करके और उससे भी हम मदद लें। तो और गांव के स्तर पे ये भी कोशिश की है कि उनको किसी एक लिमिटेड मतलब एक लिमिटेड ट्रेनिंग से उनको इस काबिल बना दिया जाए कि वो प्राइमरी हेल्थ सेंटर में बैठ के और काम कर सकें। तो और दूसरी एक और बहुत जरूरी बात, वही मैं आखिर में ये कहना चाहूंगी कि जो सड़कों की सुविधा है, जिसके बारे में आप जानते हैं, आप सरपंच हैं, तो उससे अगर ज्यादा गंभीर बीमारी से कोई किसी का एनकाउंटर हो, तो एक तरह से एक जगह से दूसरी जगह जाने के लिए भी वो सक्षम है। और सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि इस योजना में यूनिवर्सल हेल्थ केयर यानी कि पूरे स्तर पे हर एक को सेहत का लाभ पहुंचाना।
Okay, let me just take another question which is coming in from social media, and do remember you can post any question you want on Google Plus, on Twitter. Use the hashtag 12plan. You can also tweet me if you want. My handle is @vikramchandra. So a couple of questions that are coming in on agriculture, and I can perhaps throw that to Dr. Abhijit Sen. What is going to be done to provide relevant information and to help farmers enhance farm yields? This perhaps one of the most crucial things for us to do. So Harsh Narayan-Swamy has asked that question. Dr. Abhijit Sen?
Well, I suppose...
Talk to us about agriculture in general and farm yields in particular.
Well, I suppose extension has been always a problem. For a number of years, we've been trying to follow this up with in a number of ways. I mean, television, guys going to farms, trying to set up docking shops, farm schools, and I guess the internet, if it's there, is going to add one more handle to it, particularly because it's also interactive, unlike television or a lot of other things. And now so basically connecting up the guys who are sitting in universities, guys who are sitting in the KVK, they're connected themselves, but
making them be able to, number one, talk to the extension guys who are part of the agriculture department, but eventually, and probably most importantly, talk to the farmer individually or talk to the farmers as groups. And I think this communication part is what this is all about. The content, that's what the universities are all about.
Okay, why don't I go to now Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, who's there. Kiran, do you have a question for anybody?
I would like to, yes, I have a question. I'd like to basically pose this question to Dr. Ahluwalia. You know, to the lay citizen of this country, the 5-year plan is some ambiguous document which supposedly lays out the plan for the country's development over a 5-year period. Now, can the Planning Commission present an annual report card to the citizens of this country on how they are delivering on that plan? You know, what part of the plan is working, what is not working, is there a course correction being taken? For example, the 11th 5-year plan had at its central theme education. How have we delivered on that education plan? The 12th 5-year plan has a focus on healthcare. How are we going to focus and how are we going to report on that plan? Is it working? I would like to ask Dr. Ahluwalia, why doesn't he present a report card on the 11th 5-year plan to start with? Can you do this?
That's a great question. And Dr. Ahluwalia, before you answer that, I can say a lot of people on Twitter and other forums are also asking that question. Sanjay Datta, for example, has just tweeted me saying, at the end of 5 years, we always seem to be falling short of our targets. How can we review it? How can we keep fixing our targets? And what sort of review will there be that the numbers don't get missed?
Very good question. As far as the 11th plan is concerned, the 12th plan document itself gives a very clear assessment of what we've achieved. Now, for example, we started off by saying, let's go for a target growth rate of 9%. We have said that we've achieved the target growth rate of 8%. It's true, that's lower than the target, but it's better than the 10th plan, which was 7.6. It's the highest growth rate achieved in any plan period. So that's one thing. We also were looking at poverty. Poverty has declined faster than it did before the plan. It hasn't been eliminated, but it's definitely declined faster. Kiran talked about education. It's true that primary education was the big objective in the 11th plan. Right to Education Act was brought in. In terms of facilities, I mean, we got near 100% of the kids are now in school. But the real question, I think Narendra talked about it, what about the quality of education? So this is something which is being reported, but to answer Kiran's question, I don't think an annual report card on the plan makes sense, but what we do have is a midterm appraisal. So we do a 5-year plan document, 2.5 years later we say what's happened at the midterm. The reason we don't do an annual is that that's what the budget does. The trouble is the budget talks about expenditure. It is very difficult to measure outcomes because those data don't come out year after year. I mean, we can tell you, for example, how much money we spent on health, but if you want to know what has happened to the infant mortality rate, that's going to take a little longer. But I agree with you, we ought to have a template which identifies key indicators. Now, we in the 12th plan have 25 monitorable indicators. And I agree with you that every year we should put out a document. This is the latest we've got. So thank you for the suggestion, and we'll put it on our website in the course of this plan period.
Okay, why don't I get, let's get in an opposition view if we can. Jay Panda, who's also with us. Jay, Dr. Ahluwalia was saying that the sort of growth you've seen in the recent past have been some of the best ever in history. Does that give you confidence for the 12th plan, or would you have areas of concern?
I would like to raise the issue of regional disparities when we are talking about this growth and development of India. And yes, it is indeed true that we are seeing better growth rates over the past 2 decades. But it is also a fact that there are large differences between various regions of India. I come from a state, Odisha, which has traditionally been considered one of the poorest states. It's been behind. And these are important because when you look at some key indicators, for example, look at the midday meal scheme, which is one of the flagship programs of the central government. And you see tremendous variance in terms of how well it is implemented. The national average for it is only 72% of school children have access to it, for the primary school children who are intended to have access to it. But you have states like Kerala and Goa who are operating at 95%, and many other states well below that 72%. So the question arises, to what extent does the Planning Commission's plans as well as the central government's policies try to address these regional imbalances? So here I have a question, but first a point. Yes, it's true that even some of these backward states have been growing quite rapidly for the past few years. But despite that, states like Bihar and Odisha and a few other states will take many years to catch up to the national average, let alone the more advanced states. So my question is this: in the last 2 decades, the central funding that goes to states, instead of being devolved onto the states, has increasingly gone in the form of centrally sponsored programs. Now, the centrally sponsored programs have a one-size-fits-all approach, which means it's got standard guidelines which every state has to stick to in the same manner, and it requires a state component, usually of about 25% of the cost, sometimes a bit more, of the funds. Now, what happens is the richer states then get an inherent advantage because they are able to spend that 25% more effectively and on time, and are thus able to draw more funds, as opposed to the states that are not so well off, even though they may be growing fast now. So there is a regressiveness in that allocation of funds. Now this has happened since the 90s. In the 11th plan, about 60% of central funds went in through these centrally sponsored programs. So my question is, there any thinking on this to shape policy so that there is more devolution of the funds to the states to give them more discretion to target what is really important for each region or each state, rather than having such a one-size-fits-all policy?
All right. Dr. Ahluwalia, who wants to take that? Do you want to take that? Perhaps Rajiv, who wants to answer that?
Well, actually, I'm going to ask my colleague B.K. Chaturvedi, who has dealt a lot on the regional balance side and also chaired a committee on the centrally sponsored schemes. I may supplement what he has to say, but I think Jay Panda will find that both on the issue of regional inequality being reduced and on the issue of greater flexibility, there is a lot of good news.
What Mr. Panda has said is true, that there have been regional inequalities over a period of years, but the 11th plan is that way the watershed in that regard. For the first time, the rates of growth in many of the states, and he himself mentioned just now about Odisha, Bihar, their rates of growth have been higher. In fact, we did a study and we found that the rates of growth in these states were around 8.5% as against the rates of growth, a national average which was less than 8 or around 8%. Similarly, we found that even in the northeastern states, the rates of growth have been higher than the national average. So we do notice a certain amount of convergence in the plan. This also has been helped by the fact that the population growth rates have been going down. So that has helped a faster increase as the per capita incomes go up because of the faster growth in GDP and a slightly lower growth rates in population. So that has helped. Second, on the question of the centrally sponsored schemes, yes, he is right that there have been concerns on that. So we had set up a committee and we had looked at that, and in the 12th plan we are going to have much larger devolution of functions and powers with the states regarding the way the one size fits all doesn't figure. For example, questions of physical norms, financial norms, questions which the states feel that they need to have a different norms for them, that is going to come up in that. So that's really, in that regard as well, we are very much on board, and we do appreciate the point he has read, but we have tried to handle it in the 12th plan.
Can I, Vikram, just pitch in on that? there's something I want to bring Rajiv Shukla, our Minister of State for Planning, to comment on. Because Jay Panda talked about midday meals, and he made the point that there's huge variation across states. I mean, states in the south like Kerala, 95% of the kids who are eligible are getting it. In other northern states, it's much, much lower, and the average is 75. Now, you remember, every state is getting the money for the kids that are there. So what is happening is, in implementation, some states are way ahead of others. Mr. Shukla has been very interested in this issue, and I'd like him to pitch in at this point and give some suggestions.
Well, as far as the backwardness of states are concerned, in Planning Commission, we have got a provision to help these states. There is the Backward Area Development Fund, and Bihar and Odisha both are getting benefited by that fund. So wherever we find that these states are not able to improve as far as the backwardness is concerned, we provide funds to them. As far as the